Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So welcome to Math 2301 for this term. And so let me share the course outline, which you can find it in Moodle. Yeah. So the course outline, so everything is standard except the assessment. Okay, so assessment. So the written test actually will be conducted online. Okay, so it will be 15%. And then we have a lab test in week 7 and 2 small assignments. So those will be done via grader, Matlab grader. So by now, you should have received an email from Matlab grader. And I will show you in a moment. So then the group project. So this one can be done in 1, 2, or 3 students in a group. Okay, and it will be due in week 10 in the final week of the term. And then you have a final exam. Okay, so that is the assessment. And then the second thing is Moodle. So let me any question? So please ask question, or you can put in the chat box. Any question? No question, yeah. Okay, so now
好像没有，我看那个 lecture slide 那块是空的。
Sorry, can you say the question again? So can you please ask the question again, yeah? Please ask question. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So now I want to share the Moodle screen, yeah? So Moodle, so you can see that, maybe not yet. So let me share the Moodle screen, yeah? So everything related to the course will be in this Moodle page, yeah? And you can see that the lecture notes is here. So all the lecture notes, suppose you go to topic 1, you see this is the lecture notes, yeah? And this one is all the Matlab associated with chapter 1. You can download, you can read it, okay? And I expect you to spend some time to read the lecture notes because the full explanation of what I'm going to talk will be there. And then from time to time, I'm going to use some interactive documents. So we are going to use it today, you know, like topic 1, topic 2, you click on it, then you go to the Google form. Okay, so we will do it. So now, what else? So tutorials. So tutorials question will be here, week 1. So the tutorial solution will be posted after the weeks is over. Okay, and the lab is here as well. So remember, for tutorials, we have 1 tutorials on campus and 1 online tutorials. So choose which one you like, okay? And then, so the lab is the same, you know, so there's 2 labs which are on campus and 1 lab which is online. And for Matlab, you can get Matlab for free, okay, by click on this link. Okay, you click on this one and you follow the instruction there. You can get the Matlab and install it on your laptop or on your desktop. And then announcement. So from time to time, I put announcement here. So the first announcement I posted yesterday. So it was on more or less what I just mentioned here. So the assessment. So assessment, remember, will be done on Matlab Grader. So I will show you what Matlab Grader look like. So far, we have about 17 students there already. And the written test will be done on Maple TA. Group project will be submitted online. Final exam will be online as well. So you don't have to worry about coming to campus, okay? And now Matlab Grader. So by now, please check your email, okay? Your university email, the one that you enroll. Then you should get some email like this, yeah, from Matlab or from MathWorks. And then there's a green button and you click on the green button, yeah. If it doesn't if it doesn't work, then you haven't got the MathWorks account. So you have to create a MathWorks account. It's free. You're using the email from UNSW, okay? And then you click on this green button, then you get something like this. So you will see something like this. So assignment 0. So you log in and you will see assignment 0. There's no marks associated with assignment 0, but there's marks with assignment 1 and 2. Okay. So, and you see, you click on see my first script problem, and what you will see is something like this. Okay, so there will be some instruction, yeah, and then you write, like suppose in this example, say that write a script that compute the volume of a cone, okay, and assign the results into the variable name vol, VOL. So you just say, okay, so vol equal R times H, something like this, yeah, and you can run the script. Yeah, so you see the output is 60, okay? And once you're happy with the script, then you submit. Okay, so let's say that, okay, it's wrong. Yeah, so you can try it again. So suppose this one you divide it by 2, you run the script, yeah, and you submit. Okay, still wrong, okay? So now you have to read it more carefully, okay? So we forgot to follow the instructions. So the instructions say that you have to say volume equal pi multiplied by r square and divided by multiplied by h divided by 3. Okay, and now you run the script and now you submit and it passed. Okay, so this one you have infinite many times to try it until it works. Okay, so that is how you learn interactively. So now we go to the lectures. So now any question before I move on? Any question? So far so good? Any question? So is it okay to skip some of the lecture notes and just to look at the important parts? Look very long and scary. Well, it's fine by me. I mean, as long as you can do the final exam, you can skip the whole thing, but make sure that you can do the final exam, okay? So, okay, so now there's one question, yeah? Otherwise, question? Yeah? Question? Any question? No? Okay, so let me start the lectures, yeah? So I start the lectures by talking about Matlab, and the slide, I prepare the slide, and then I expect you to read the lecture notes, so then the slide will be given after the lectures, okay? So after the lectures, I will post the slide into Moodle. So now let me try to share the slide. So where is my Zoom? So share the slide. So everyone can see the slide, yeah? Okay, so the first chapter or the first topic is Introduction to Matlab. And you see this one is just the summary of the lecture notes part 1. Okay, so it will be an overview of what Matlab is. Okay, so we will talk about all the key elements of Matlab, okay, the data types, variables, statement control, functions, graphics, efficiency. So maybe let me ask a simple question. So how many people have seen Matlab before? How many? So maybe let me start a polling, yeah. So how many person? Or anonymous, yeah. So how many questions? So how many people have seen Matlab before? Yes or no? So multiple choice. Let's see whether you can answer this. So ask question. And now, it doesn't work yet. So maybe, yeah, just say in the chat box, yeah. So, okay, so we have a few people who've seen it before, and some people said the first time. So it's okay. So if you've seen it before, then it's good. So you will become the helper of your friend, yeah. So because you see in the group project, I expect that one people will be very good in the have no friends. Well, you will make friends, you know. So otherwise, I will assign you randomly. So no problem. Okay. So we will form a group, and if you cannot find friends, then I will assign randomly by just a random number generator. Okay. Okay. So now we go to the videos that introduced Matlab from the company who developed this software in the 80s. Okay, so just watch. Sorry, did you
Millions
see?
Of engineers.
Sorry, you didn't see my video, right? So let me share the video, yeah. Okay, now you can see my video, yeah. So
Scientists use MATLAB to analyze the data, develop the algorithms, and create the systems that shape the world around us. At the heart of MATLAB is a high-level programming language that lets engineers and scientists express matrix and array mathematics directly. MATLAB provides a vast library of toolboxes that spans everything from signal and image processing, control systems, wireless communications, and computational finance, to robotics, deep learning and AI, and more. Created specifically for engineers and scientists, MATLAB is designed for the way you think. Easy to learn and use, it lets you express your ideas directly and puts the tools you need at your fingertips. Explore ideas quickly. See results and visualizations right next to the code that produced them. And only MATLAB includes pre-built apps and allows you to easily build your own, for when point and click is the best way to analyze and design. Extend MATLAB with thousands of packages and toolboxes shared on GitHub and elsewhere. Then deploy your work on cloud and enterprise systems, into Simulink, or automatically generate code that runs on embedded devices. From researching the world around us to creating next-generation intelligent systems, millions of engineers and scientists use MATLAB to shape the future. What will you do with MATLAB?
Okay, so we have to answer the question, what will you do with MATLAB? Okay. So is there a way to move graphs table from MATLAB to LaTeX? Yes, yes, but later, okay? So maybe you can talk to me later, okay? So, but now let me go back, because you see there's a big difference between different groups. You know, some students haven't seen it before and some are expert, okay? So now, you know, like remember every programming language, you have to define a data type, right? And you have to define the variable. So the same in MATLAB. So in MATLAB, you have integers, you have real numbers, matrices, character strings, structures, and cells, okay? So now, anybody has done C or Java or other languages? Python, okay. So Python, I think the same here. So Python, you might have more structures, you know, Python, but the difference between MATLAB and other, you know, languages like C is like you don't have to declare the type. Yeah, so I will show you the example. So example, you declare a variable, you don't have to. So maybe let me start MATLAB. So there's my MATLAB. This is my MATLAB. Let me share the screen with you. Let me share my screen. So MATLAB, you can, after you install it, okay, you click the icon, you know, like on my Mac, the icon look like this. The icon, well, so the icon look like this in my, so suppose I share my screen, yeah? Share the whole screen.
Both midterm.
Sorry, so see, so if you see the, I have an icon like this, you know, after I install it, you click on it, yeah? Then you will see something like I had a command Windows before. So let me share the MATLAB again, yeah? Okay, so you see that there is 3 windows. So this windows show you the directory. Okay, so suppose I have MATH2301 directory here. Okay, so I have files here. So maybe lecture notes, PDF files, topic 1. Okay, so I have a lot of MATLAB files here. Okay, and then this, the central windows is the command windows, and the right is just the windows that contain the variable. So now I have to clear everything. So clear everything, then it's gone. Okay, and so now I define the variable. Suppose I define x equal 1. So you see that, so x equal 1 here. Okay, and then I can define a matrix. So you see that I don't have to declare the variables, and this one is interactive. So you can define a command. So somehow this one is similar to your Python script if you know Python. Yeah, you can do it interactively, or you can write a script and run it. So now I can define a matrix, okay, like this. Okay, or I can define a string. So any question? So I can define a string. So
有女朋友了。
yeah, we are so bored. See, so you can define a string. Any question? Can I use Matlab 2020 B? Yeah, you can use Matlab 2020 B. Yes. So I mean, the stable version is 2020 B. You know, don't try the latest, because the latest, say, suppose the year is 2021. Okay, then 2021 is not so stable with the one just the year before. Okay. And the question is it similar to Linux? What is the question? Which one is similar to Linux? Python? No, Python is a different language. So Python is not similar to Linux. Linux is an operating system, but Python is another programming language. Okay. So is it better if one downloads Matlab or use an online version? You see, I mean, if you have a stable connection, then you can use the online version. But if your internet is not so stable, then I recommend you to download Matlab. But the Matlab files, I mean, when you download it, it's rather big, 7 gigabytes or 10 gigabytes. Okay. Yes, the 7 files is the downloaded version is easier. Yeah, but it's about 7 gigabytes. So if you download it from home, it might take you 5 hours. So the fastest way is you go to campus, you use the Wi-Fi on campus. That's quicker to download from here. Okay. So any more questions? Okay, so now back to the Matlab. Yeah, so the Matlab, so you have the string here. So you have the so every number in Matlab is assumed to be a floating number, real numbers. Okay. So but you can have integers. So suppose you want to define integers. So suppose you define integers. Well, you can say int of say 10. No, maybe you just use 10, you know. So then it's assumed that it can assume that's the integers, but the default is a floating numbers. Okay, a double precision floating numbers. Yeah, and then what else? So now in Matlab, so remember that you have variables, you have vectors. Yeah, so you have a numbers, you have a matrix, you can have a vectors. So vectors is 1, 2, 3, like this. So this is a column vector. So column vectors, each element is separated by semicolons. Yeah, and yes, real numbers is defined at a double precision. Okay, so in Matlab, the default real numbers are double precision. Okay, what is a double precision? So we will cover it in chapter 2. So be please patient, yeah. So double precision we will cover in chapter 2. Essentially, it's a 64-bit number. Okay, so just wait until chapter 2, or you can read chapter 2, or you can have row vectors. Okay, so you can have a row vectors like this. Yeah, so row vectors. There is no semicolon, just a gap, just a space between those numbers. And you can multiply matrix with the vectors. Suppose I take A, okay? I multiply with the vector V. Oh, sorry. There's an errors. Okay, so what is the error? So the errors is A is a 3 by 3 matrix. Okay, but V is a 1 by 3. Yeah, so you cannot do that. So you have to take V to be column vectors. Then you can take A is multiplied by V. Okay, so the matrix multiplied by vectors, then it just gives you another column vectors. Yeah, so now you can multiply 2 matrices. Okay, so suppose You take B is another matrix.
Innocent.
Yeah. So now you cannot take A multiplied by B. Yeah, because the size are not compatible. Okay. But you can take A multiplied by the transpose of B. Okay. So if you take transpose of the matrix, B will be a 3 by 2 matrix. So A is 3 by 3. So you multiply by 3 by 2, then it's okay. Okay. So what else? Can it do complex number? Good question. Yes, it can do complex number. So suppose I define complex number x is 1 plus I. Okay, so you see that complex number, the first component, the real part, and the complex component is 1. So what is the norm of x? So it will be square root 2. Okay. So what else? So you see, so it can do, or you can take square root of minus 2. Then it gives you, like square root 2 times I. Yeah. So it can do complex number. Okay. So now, so there is 2 ways to do Matlab, right? One is you can do interactive like this. Another way is you create a new script. Yeah. So you create a script. So let me create a new script. So you see there's a button here, new script. You click on it, new script. And maybe you don't see my new windows here. Maybe let me share my screen so then you can see because now it's like, so you can see that, okay, it pops up another windows, right? So you see it, so it pops up another windows. Does it only do for norm2? Can it make it do norm-p? Good question. Well, there's a command called norm. Okay, so suppose I take, so this one is in chapter 4, we will cover it in chapter 4. So suppose you have norm 2 of V. Now, it's just like you take 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square and take the square root. Yeah. And you take the square root. But if you do norm 1, yeah, then you, so this one just a norm 2, yeah. But if you do norm 1, then what is norm 1 of this number? So norm 1 is just take the absolute value. Yeah. Okay, so you know norm 1, yeah. So take absolute value on the entries. Yeah. So then this one gives you 6. Okay. Or it can do norm infinity. So again, this one is, we will cover it in chapter 4. So if you read about it, then it's good. Or you know it from somewhere. Yeah. So norm infinity, just a maximal value. Okay. Then take the norm infinity. So it's just command norm. Okay. Any more questions? Well, so it's good because, I mean, this has to be interactive. Otherwise, it's very boring if you just watch the lectures. You can watch the recorded lectures after that. But, I mean, the more interactive, the more you can learn. Otherwise, I mean, it's very easy to fall asleep, especially this is a lunchtime, You just have a nap and then the lectures is over. Okay. And how does it? Yeah, it's lunchtime, sleep time, yes. How does the 6 come out? Okay, so again, 6 is the absolute value of 1 plus absolute value of 2, absolute value of 3. Okay, so we cover it in chapter 4. So, I mean, your friend just asked ahead, so anyway. So now go back to Matlab, okay? So now I say that this one is you can do it in a command line, but you can do it in a script, okay? So I create a script. So you see my script, yeah? Yes, okay. So this one is correct, and we will study about the norm later. Okay, so go back to the script, and you see that now I open the window new script. You see the editor windows pop up. Okay, And now you can type in commands here. Okay, so suppose I type in command. So x equal 1, y equal x plus 1. Okay, and print, print out the message. Total is maybe it should be f print f, yeah. Total is equal x plus y. Okay. So this one essentially just a small program. Okay. So now, like now how do you run it? So now first you save it. You can save it as so in my case, I just say save at so dummy one, just a name, any name is okay. Yeah. So now dummy one is saved. Yeah. So now if you list, you will see the dummy one is here in your directory. Okay, and you can run it. You can run dummy one. So I just print out total, should print out x plus y. So what happened to? Okay, so we forgot to put in the a command to print out the value of x plus y. Okay, so you save it again, or you can click this button. You can click the run command, just do the same. So total is 3. Okay. Or you can make it more fancy. Okay, you can make it more fancy. So you say that input x. So this one is like you write a small calculators. Okay, so you input x and then input y. Okay, then you run it. So now your program asking, okay, what is x? So x is 1, 2, 3, and y is 4, 5, 6, and the total is just 5, 7, 9. Okay, so that is the script. Okay, so that is how you write the script. Yeah. So any more questions so far? So everyone is taking a nap already? Anybody still awake? So one people still awake, yeah? Yes, okay. So now let me go back to the slides. So I want to show you the slide. Well, maybe let me show you the slide, yeah? So we cover the data types, yeah? A variable name, so you have a variable names already. Dimension is not required for vectors and arrays, so you saw me just enter the vectors or arrays directly. So variable names are case sensitive. So little x and capital X are different, okay? And it can contain up to 31 characters and start with a letter. And you can save, the variables, or you can load it. So it's simple. Okay, so I cover the script files already. So I say that a script is just a collection of commands. Yeah. So you put all the commands into a script. Now, in order to execute the commands, a script, you can click on the run button, or you can type the name of the script. Remember, I typed dummy one, then it execute on the command. Okay. So the script file cannot be the same as the name of the variable. Okay, so you can read it. Okay. So matrix and vectors. So I gave some examples already. So you can define row vectors or column vectors. Okay. you can define array. So array is just a matrix. So four-dimensional array is just a matrix. Okay, so now control. Okay, so now if you've seen another programming languages, then all the programming language has some control statement. You know, control is if, then else. You know, if the condition 1 is correct, then you do something. Otherwise, condition 2, if it's correct, do something else, and so on and so forth. Okay. Or it has the next thing is has a loop. So the loops is you can repeat things. Okay. And now you can have two types of loops. Yeah, one is the number of iteration. Yeah, then you use a for loops. So here, just a running variables, little n, run from 1 to capital N, and you do something in the in between. Yeah, a while loop is you don't know how many iterations you might have. Okay, then you put in the condition. Yeah, and then you just carry out the expression here. So those things, you know, you just practice, and then, so maybe let me do some simple example, and then I give you an exercise, and so that you can stay awake. Okay. So I will do a simple example. So maybe let me make a simple example in Matlab. Yeah. So we have, so let me share the screen. Yeah. Okay, so now we had before we had a dummy 1, yeah. So now suppose I have dummy 2, so I just new script. Okay, so this one is example using if, else. Okay, so now maybe, you know, now suppose your marks, yeah, your marks is something, yeah, so maybe like 70. Okay, maybe input the marks, yeah. And now from the marks, try to give the rate, yeah. So now suppose if marks is over 85, yeah, then, sorry, you don't say then, yeah, you just say rate is HD, yeah, and else, yeah, so else, maybe this one, else if, okay, mark is greater or equal 75, then grades is what, credit, no, D, yeah, okay, and else if mark is greater or equal 65, okay, then grades is credit, okay, and else if mark greater than 50 and grades is pass, okay, else, okay, grades is fail. So I hope that nobody will get a F, okay. So you see, this is the script that gives you the grade based on the marks, yeah. So you save, line 9 marks. Thank you. Yeah, so you're still awake. Yeah. Okay, so we save it. So now it's asking for the name. So dummy2. Okay, and now you can run it. So you can run it. So marks is 74. I forgot to print out the grades. Yeah, so we have to display the grades. Yeah. So run it. Yeah. So mark is 74. The grade is credit. Okay. So do it again. So dummy2, 87, so HD. Okay. So you get the idea, right? So it's very, very easy. So you have to do some practice. So now I have an exercise for you. So now to make you stay awake, there's a second typo in the second last line. Okay, but I fixed it already. Okay, thank you. So now, now I give you an exercise so that you can wake up. Yeah. So now the next exercise is, let me share you the slide. Okay, so suppose you have a loop structure, if structure already. So now can you write a program, a small program? I assume that you have Matlab with you, right? So can you write a Matlab script to compute the sum? Okay, 1 cube plus 2 cube plus 3 cube plus 100 cubes. Okay, so once you've done it, you can enter your results in the Google form. Okay, so the program examples is, suppose, you know, I give you a sum, 1 cube plus 2 cube plus 3 cube up to 100. How do you compute the sum? Okay. So now once you've done, you go to the Google form. So now if you go to the Moodle, yeah, you go to Moodle and you will see that. So let me share you my Moodle page. Okay, so you go to the interactive documents here and you see that a simple sum. And you see that there is a Google form. So once you write a program, then you know the exact answer. Okay, you just click on it and see, are you still awake or not? Okay, so I'm going to show you like what people are submitting. So let's see, so I can go to my another screen. So let me stop. I go to my other screen. I will show you how people are submitting. If I go to so I have about 8 people response already. So I can show you the screen of what people are submitting. Okay, so now we have about 8 responses. So 8 people still here, but the answer are not the same. Not interesting. So there is one answer say that 24 something something, another say 25 something something. So now what is the correct answer? And now let's see how many people are still awake. So 10, 13. So then anyone explain to me how you did that? So you can put in a chat box. So we have a majority. So majority seems to be 25, 50, 25, 00. So somebody explain to me How you did that? Yes, correct. Yes. So you just take the sum of, so Matthew, okay, so there's at least, I can say 2 correct answers. Yeah, one, you take the sum of the vector from 1 to 100 and you raise to the power 3. Okay. Another is you use a for loops. You can see in the chat box. Yeah, you can, well, but before the for loops, make sure that the sum equals 0. Okay, so make sure the sum equals 0. And this formula is not correct because this formula is for, is it correct? Let me check. Well, I don't remember. I don't remember that formula. But I mean, you can use formula, make sure that is correct, okay? But I don't remember this formula because without the square, just the sum of 1 to n. Yeah. No, but I don't have a square. I mean, I have a cube. Okay, so this is not a square. Some. Okay, so now. Okay, so now we have 3 answers. Okay, so now we try Matlab. Okay, so now let me stop this, and Matlab is the correct way to check here. So you go to Matlab. So I can share my screen. Yeah, I can share my screen here. So one way is, the simplest way is you take the sum of, a vector from 1 to 100, yeah, and you raise to the power 3. So again, so what does this mean here? So this means, if you take, so then you get the answer. So if you take 1 colon to 10, then this one just give you on the a vector of all the numbers from 1 to 10, okay? And when you say dot raised to power cube, then it means that it takes every element and it raised to power 3, yeah? Okay, so you see 1 cube is 1, 2 cube is 8, and so on. And when you take the sum of the vectors, yeah, then it just gives you the sums of all the entries, okay, in that vectors. So you see the simplest way is you take the sum, of the vectors that contain all the integers from 1 to 100, but raised to the fifth power, okay? And another way is to use a for loops. So you use a for loop, so the s, maybe s equals 0, yeah? Then you say that for n to be 1 to 100, then s equal s plus n raised to the power 3. Then n. And you can see that s. So see, it gives you the same answer, okay? So it will be 255, 205, and 00, okay? So, but you get the idea, right? So when you practice, then it's very simple. Okay, so now, while on this topic, you will see that there's a function that, a built-in function that that the input is a vector, right? And the output is just a number, so sum of, say, 1 to 3, okay? Then it takes in a vector, right? And it gives you a number, yeah? But there's other functions. Suppose you take a max of a vector, then it gives you the max elements, okay? But there's a command called norm. So we saw it before. So norm 1 to 3. So just take 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square, okay? And maybe there's a few others function as well. So what else? Maybe mean. Yeah, mean is 1, 2, 3. Okay, so minimal elements. Or the average. So the average. So 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. So that is, there's many built-in function in MATLAB that take in the vectors and give you the numbers out of as the output. Okay, so that is the motivation to study function. So now let me go back to the slide. So we've done with the control statement, yeah. So the next topic is the functions. You see, so functions, you can see that there's function that take in scalar. Okay, so sine x, cosine x, or vector function. So take a vector, take a sum and entries, matrix. Okay, so matrix, I will show you matrix. So matrix is, suppose you have a matrix and you want to take a determinant. Yeah, so we have, suppose I have a matrix, say A is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Yeah, so sorry. Yeah, so this is a matrix A, right? And the determinant of the matrix, wow, this matrix is not so good. The determinant is so close to 0. You see, I mean, determinant take in the matrix and then compute the determinant. Yeah, or can compute the eigenvectors. So what is the eigenvectors? Oh, sorry, eigen of A. Yeah. So it compute the eigenvectors. Sorry, eigenvalues. Compute the eigenvalues. Yeah. You can compute the eigenvectors and eigenvalues as well if you give it like this. So the matrix V are the eigenvectors, and the matrix D just the eigenvalues. So anybody remember what is the eigenvectors? What is eigenvalues are? Anyone? Otherwise, we will study it in chapter 4. Okay, but I hope that you still remember what is the eigenvalues, what is the eigenvectors. Anyone remember? No? Don't worry. Yeah, you remember? Scale under linear transformation. Well, the eigenvectors is like, you know, if you take a matrix A, yeah, well, would represent the linear transformation, and you multiply by the vector V. Okay, so in this case, the vector V here, then it's just a multiple of that vector. Yeah, so if you apply a matrix of vector, if the vector is an eigenvector, then it's just simply scale. Yeah. So that is correct. So if you multiply a matrix to the eigenvectors, then it's just a scalar multiply with that vector. Okay. So AV equal lambda V. Yes, that's correct. Yeah. Yeah. So we will see this again in chapter 4. Okay. Okay, but now I want to introduce you to the user-defined function. So in Matlab, you can define your own function. Okay. So now you see here, you can see new script. Yeah. Okay, but now you can have a new function. So new, instead of new script, you click on new function. Okay. So now if I click on this, then it pops up another windows, and you cannot see it because let me share the screen. Yeah. So if you click on new function, then it will pops up a thing like this. So function and untitled. So you have to give a name here. Then you have an input, argument input, argument 2, and the output. Okay. So maybe we should take a break and then we start again at 105. Is it okay? Yeah, and I start. I will start again with functions. Okay, so we start again at 105. Okay, so start again. Start again at okay. Thank you. So if you have any question, you can ask me now. I mean, because we can, you know, like answer some questions that you might have. So otherwise, we can start again at 105. We start again, yeah. So at 105 already. So I want to show you how to write your own function in Matlab. Okay, so now let me share the screen again. So now, so if you click on the new, right, and then you click on function, you click on this, and then you will see the editor pops up, and it has a function like this. So the function has 3 parts, yeah. So the name, input, and the output. So remember we have you know, example of the grades before, so you can define a function, you know, based on your grades, yeah. So the function, the output is maybe grade, gr for grades, yeah. And maybe this one is my grade, yeah. So the input is mark, okay. And now, you know, this one, you just say that this function will do something, yeah. So this function will compute my grades based on my marks, yeah. Okay. And now you save it, so you have to save it as my grades, yeah. So save at mygrade.m. Okay. And now remember we did something similar before, right? So we just say that if mark is greater or equal 85, then so you see my windows, yeah. So otherwise I can make it bigger. So so then you say that grades. So here I just say gr because the output is gr, right? Equal you know, hd. Okay. Else if mark is bigger than 75, then grades is D, yeah. And else if marks is greater than 65 and grades is credit, yeah. Else if mark is greater than 50, greater or equal 50, then grades equal pass. Else grades equal fails, yeah. So grades is fail. Okay, and you save it. So now, how do you use the function? So now you go back to So if you go back to this Windows, yeah, you will see that. So if I list all my M files here, I can see that my grades is here. Yeah. So I cannot type my grades. Yeah, because if I type it, it will give me errors. Let's say that, okay, you have to give me some input. Okay. So you have to give me input. So the input should be now. So before, remember the script, when you run the script, you just call the name. Okay, but now when you call the function, you have to give the input. Yeah, so say 76, and you have to give the output. So maybe G. Okay. So there's an errors in line 9, column 17. So line 9, I forgot parentheses, close parentheses. Okay. But so now I go back and my grades 76 is just equal distinction. Okay. Or if 61 and a passed 65 credit. Okay. So remember, when you call a function, then it should give you, I mean, you should give an input and an output. Okay. So now I want you to do another exercise. Yeah. So on your laptop. So now let me introduce you to this exercise. So now first I show you this Fibonacci sequence. So maybe you've heard of Fibonacci sequence before, but I just want to remind you what it is. So anyone knows about Fibonacci sequence? So let me remind you what is Fibonacci sequence. Yeah. So there is a nice website about Fibonacci sequence. Okay. So it's a sequence of series of number like this. So 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34. Okay. So what is the pattern? Yeah. So the pattern is you just take the previous two numbers, you add it up, and you get the next number. So 1 plus 1 gives you 2. So 1 plus 2 gives you 3. And 3 plus 5 gives you 8. Okay, so on. So this the list is here. Okay, so n equals 0 give you 0, n equals 1 give you 1, so on. Okay, so that is the rules to compute. And there's a story behind it, you know, so you can read about that on the internet, Google, Wikipedia. So now the question is, okay, so now the question is, now I want you to write a function, okay, a Matlab function to compute the Fibonacci sequence. So that now that is the next thing is, so the question is, so the sequence Fn is defined from these rules. Yeah, Fn is just Fn minus 1 plus Fn minus 2. Okay, what is a Fibonacci sequence? And you know, just forget about F0. So F0 just equals 0. So F1 equals 1, F2 equals 1. And then F3 equals 2, and so on and so forth. And now I want you to write a Matlab function to compute the Fibonacci numbers. Okay. And we can do it iteratively. Oh, sorry, we can do it collaboratively. So what is I plus 1 equal I plus 2? So now I want you to do it collaboratively. Okay. So now, so we go to Moodle. If you go to Moodle, so we go to Moodle here. So you see the Moodle page here, yeah. and you go down to interactive documents, yeah, and you click on Fibonacci sequence, then you will see, okay, somebody has done something here already. Well, total is 1, display total. Somebody wrote something and erased it. I mean, you just put a lot of solution here that I just put in Matlab, and I will see whether you correct, where you generate the correct numbers. It's collaborative, yeah. Well, I mean, anyone can do anything, but please do not erase other people's works, okay? So you can do, I mean, there's many ways to do this problem, okay? But at least I want you to stay awake. So I want you to, you know, supply collaborative solution. You can do many solutions on each of you, or you can do one solution for 4 or 5 of you. It's up to you. But I just want to test, okay? If you write a function, then I want to put in Matlab to see whether it produces the correct answer, okay? And there's many ways to do this, but the idea is to get you to do it, so then you get familiar with Matlab. So it's the quickest way to learn a programming language. You have to do exercise, programming exercise, okay? And you need help from other people. So it's a function, yeah? So make sure it's a function. So we should have a function. Okay, so somebody has something here already. So this one is a script, yeah? So this is a script, so maybe we should write a function, yeah? So somebody put in a script, so then I say that this one, you comment out this, sorry, comment out. Comment is like this, yeah? Okay, so then you write function. Okay, so maybe Fibonacci phi, or maybe Fib, Fibonacci just FB, yeah? And equal Fibonacci number, and input is n. Okay, so suppose somebody did this, so I want to check whether it's correct or not. So now, so total, you know, now because it's a function, so you have to return the output to be FB, yeah? So this one should be FB. So total is before you have a script, and you don't have to display, yeah? So we return as a function. So if n is 1, then FB equal 1. If n equal 2, FB equal 1. Okay, so you don't have to display, okay? Else, so for k equal 3 to n, so temporary is next. So the problem is now next. So you have to print on the thing here down, yeah? Okay, so next is 1, previous is 1, temporary equals 0. And then you have a loop, okay? A loop from 3 to n, and temporary equal next. So this one should be FB, not total, yeah? So FB is next, okay? So display total, so we don't have the display, okay? So this is one solution, yeah? So first, we have to check whether this is a correct solution, yeah? So any more solution? Any more solution? At least I see one solution, yeah? So cut and paste into Matlab and see whether it works. yeah, display total just means that display the value of the variables. Yeah, so I need a script. Yeah, sorry, I need a function, not a script. Yeah. Okay, but now let's see whether it works correctly. Yeah, so then I can explain. Yeah, so now suppose I take this one, I cut and paste into my Matlab. Okay, so and see whether it works. Yeah, so I just cut and paste into my Matlab. So where is my Matlab? Let me share my Matlab. So I save. So see, it asked me to save the name of the function. Remember, I have to give the I have to give the input. Yeah. So now, what is the name of the function? So the function just Fibonacci n. Yeah. And if I give 1, so answer 1. So it's correct. Yeah. 2 is 1. It's correct. Yeah. So 3 is the crucial moment. Yeah. So 3 is 2. So that's correct. Yeah. And 4 is 1, 2, 3. It's correct. Okay. So it's very good. So now what is 5? 2 plus 3 is 5. Yeah, it's correct. Yeah. So you see, at least you see that the solution is correct. Yeah. So now how do we? So what is how does the function works? Yeah. So now go back to the. So thanks Eric for the solution. Yeah. So now, if I go back to the Google form, sorry, Google documents, and now let me explain. Okay, so let me explain how it works here. So you see, I mean, for first the function we have to give a name. Yeah, so the input is n and the output is just fb. Yeah, so if n equal 1, then the Fibonacci f1 is just equal 1. Okay, and n equal 2, fb just equal 1. So that is easy. But now the tricky part is what happens if you have n equal 3. Okay, so n equal 3. So remember that you have to take the previous 2 number. Okay, and I mean, you want to do it effectively. So that is the key thing here. So you have to do it effectively. So you have to like have a temporary variable. So remember, temporary variables, it's just an empty box. Yeah. So initially, next and previous are just 2 boxes that has the, like previous 2 numbers. Yeah. In our case, it's just equal 1, 1. So the first step, like you take the temporary, it's just the next number. And the next number is the previous plus the temporary. Yeah. So actually, so maybe let me draw pictures. Yeah. So this one is like you have a diagram like this. So the previous here. Yeah. Maybe the previous and the next and the temporary. Yeah. Okay. So initially, so in in the first step, previous equal 1, next equal 1, and temporary equal 0, right? So then you go to this line, yeah? So temporary equal next, okay? So temporary equal next. Then, well, maybe temporary should be well, let's see, yeah? So suppose you, okay, but at least I want to trace, at least I want to trace, you know, like what happened inside your program, yeah? So first, if you go into the first line here, okay, so temporary equal next, then temporary will equal 1, yeah? Okay, and then the next equal previous plus next, so next will equal 2, right? And then the previous will equal temporary, so equal 0. So what is going on here? Yeah. Then FB equal next, so FB, so maybe trace another variable here. So FB equal next, so FB will equal 2. Well, essentially FB is correct, right? Because FB is just like you take the 2 previous number and then you add it up, yeah? And then now you go down and then you go up back here. Okay, then temporary equal next. So then temporary equal 2. Okay, and then next equal previous plus next. So next equal previous. So what is 3? Yeah, and previous equal temporary, so equal 1. Okay, so well, essentially then this one equal 3, yeah. And so on. So essentially you just take the, you know, the previous plus the next. What is the previous 2 number, right? But essentially it's correct, yeah. So that is how it works, yeah. So but you know, I mean, there's other solution as well. You can try other solution, and at least you should know what you are doing, yeah. Okay, so there is another solution that you can use recursive programming, but it's not recommended, okay, because it's not very efficient. Yeah, so you can use recursive. So if anyone knows recursive, so this is a math solution. Yeah, somebody use recursive. Yeah, so recursive solution is yes, you just code it again and again. Okay, and this one is not recommended because it will consume the memories very fast. Okay, it consume the what they call the stack memory very fast. Okay, so this one is still okay. Yeah. And for the math solution, so this one is still okay, but I think you know, this one requires you to know about the recurrent equations. You know, somebody might not know this, but this is still okay. If you know this formula, then it's okay. Okay, but the idea is you use the you know, the function. You use the function, and you can use a loop like this, or you can use a recursive. Yeah. Okay, so now it's enough about function. So now go back to the Matlab. Okay. So Matlab also allow you to have anonymous function. So anonymous function is sometimes you don't want a fancy, long, lengthy function. You know, sometimes you just have a single line. So then you can define anonymous function like this. So f is, you know, suppose this one is just x squared. Okay, so then this one called anonymous function. So anonymous function has a symbol f at the beginning and give you the variables, and then give the formula according to the input variables. So you can see now f2 just equal 4, okay, and f4 equals 16, and so on. And you can have multivariate function defined anonymously as well. So suppose I get xy, okay, equal sine x multiplied by y, okay. Then you can have f1 comma 2, okay. So f3 4, yeah. So that is anonymous function. So anonymous function give you only one line, you know, definition of function. Sometimes you don't have to write a script, take a long time. Okay. And now the next is graphics. So what happened is in Matlab, we have many ways to plot. Yeah. So one way is the plot command. Yeah. So suppose I have f equal x squared. Yeah. So remember, I have a dot here. A dot here just means that if x is a vector, then it takes every element in the vectors and squared. So now suppose I give f2 or f2, that give me 4. But I give f of 2 and 4, yeah, a vector. That give me 4 and 16, yeah, stack a vector. So now suppose I want to plot this function, okay? So then I define x plot to be lin space. So lin space is just a linear space, so evenly distributed from, say, from 0 to 3. And so you see, when you type like this, it gives you the hint, yeah. So how you don't have to remember the commands, it gives you the hint. So how you complete the function, the commands, yeah. So x1 is the first point, x2 is the second point, and n is the number of intervals. So this one just means that I divide the interval from 0 to 3, you know, like into evenly spaced, and it has 100 elements. Yeah. So you can see, suppose I put like this, then you don't see its x plot, but now if I give you like this, you can see the whole thing here. Okay, so it has 100 elements, evenly spaced. Okay, and it runs from a span from 0 to 3. Okay, and now I plot. So I plot x plot f x plot. So remember the commands. So now I have to share the whole screen so you can see my output. You see, so you see the output. So the output is just the plot here. Okay. So you can plot the function by this, yeah. Or you can zoom in, zoom out, you know. So this is the, well, in my computer, I just use 2 fingers, then I can zoom in, zoom out. Yeah. So this one is a 2D plot, okay. And how about 3D plots? So suppose I want to plot a surface, okay. So to plot a surface, then there's a command called surf, yeah, surf. And but first you have to create a grid, yeah. So we have to create a grid, and so now let me show you how to do it. So suppose I want to create a grid from x equal from 0 to, say, to 5, yeah. So y equal so -1. So this one just means that it starts from 0. Sorry, it starts from -1. It increased by 0.1, and so I stop at 4. Okay. So if you type in x, you will see that it starts from 0, so increase by 0.1, then increase by 0.1, you got 0.2, then it stop at 5. Yeah. And then the y is start from -1. Yeah. So increase by 0.1, so increase by 0.1 and stop at 4. Okay. And now, you know, you have to define a mesh. Mesh is so there's a mesh grid command. Yeah. So you define xy is a mesh grid of xy. So what does it mean? So help mesh grid. So let's say like this. So mesh grid, yeah, it create a grid. It's create a grid for you, and then, you know, like the x and the y, it's just like the x and the y coordinates. Yeah. And the capital X and the capital Y is like the whole grid of replicates of the vectors. Yeah. So then you can define the surface on that. Okay. So now suppose I define the function, you know. So now you see, so this one is like the example. So I have an x and I have a y. Now I define a z. Yeah. So the z is some function. So suppose the function here is I just have x star with exponent of minus x square minus y square. Okay. Then I use the surf command. So I'll give a surface. Okay. So you see that this one is my output, and you can rotate the pictures. So if you click on this symbol, you can rotate the pictures, you know, so upside down, or you can zoom in, you know, so you can zoom in the pictures. Yeah. So zoom in here. Yeah. Okay, so that is how you plot it in 3D. Yeah. So what else? So there is so if you look at this one, if you look at the surf, yeah. So suppose you don't want the grid to be visible, you can give a command called shading. Yeah, shading interpolation. Then it gives you a nice a better surface. Look like this. Okay, so it doesn't have a grid lines anymore. Okay, and so what else? So that is the surface command. So we cover this example already. So we cover anonymous function. We plot it already. Yeah, in space. So we plot the surface. Okay, so you plot the surface already. Okay, so efficiency. So Matlab, you know, can be make it faster by vectorizing loops. So what does it mean? It means like, you know, like you don't use the loops very often. You try to use vectors. The more vectors you use, the faster the program is. Yeah. So I will give you some example later. And for the arrays, you know, if you pre-allocate in the arrays, then it's a bit faster. Okay. So I can give you example. So now example of so now let me open up Matlab again. Yeah. So vectorizing loops. So remember, before we have the example sum on the cubes from 1 to 100. Okay, so maybe let me try to do it again. Yeah, but now I measure the time. So remember, we have the way to do like this. So 1 to 100, you take a vector, yeah, and then you raise to power 3, yeah. And then I measure, so tick and tock, just take the times, the clock. And you see that, you know, take 6 microseconds. So maybe do it like 1000 to see the bit slower, yeah. Or still maybe 10,000. Okay, so 10,000, you see that it 0.01. That's strange. 100 is slower than. No, but now it's 100. It's very fast. Okay, so maybe take it 1000. Yeah, take 1000. You see that it's very fast. Yeah, but now if I take a loop, yeah, so if I take a loop, so s equals 0 for n equal 1 to 100. Like s equal s plus n cube n top. Okay, so you see that so before the sum here, you can see that it's very small. So maybe let me take 1000. Yeah. This is s plus n cube. So 0.01. You see, but if we take the sum from 1000, it's like 2 10 to the minus 4. So this one 1 10 to the minus 3. So you see, if you use the vectors, it's always faster. So that is the whole point. Okay. And so whenever you can use vectors in a function on vectors, then it's faster than using the loops. So that is in Matlab. Okay, so usually that is the case. Yeah. And secondly is the location of array. So now let me show you the example. So now let me show you the example. Okay, so this one is we just write a simple program. We just write a simple script. Yeah. So suppose now you don't. So remember, this is the vector x. Sorry, the matrix x. Yeah. So here you don't declare x in the beginning. Yeah. So you don't declare x in the beginning. So without pre-allocation, this means that you don't declare x in the beginning, and every time you just you know, like computes the entries of X on the fly, yeah, then we measure the time, okay? And then now we compare with another approach. We pre-allocate the matrix X. So X is just a zeros, n comma n, it's mean like, you know, you give a zero matrix, yeah, and its size n times n, yeah, it's just pre-allocated, yeah, and then you give the same formula, okay, and now we run it and see what happened. So we repeat eight times and we take the average, yeah. So now if you run it, so now let me show you. Maybe I share the whole screen there. So this is the pre-allocated version, yeah. So now, so if I pre-allocated before, yeah, and you can see that when I run it, so if I don't use pre-allocation, okay, then the times is about twice, you know, the time if you pre-allocate the memory. So that is the conclusion, you know. So it always recommended that if you know the size of the matrix, then you just pre-allocate it in advance, yeah. So what else? Okay, so the last topic is maybe the files, yeah. So you can save everything into a files, you know, like, so suppose I have say X equal 1, Y equal 2, yeah, Z equal 3, yeah, and then I want to save all the results, okay, into something like, say, test save, yeah, 1, 2, 3, so X, Y, and Z, you know. So suppose you do some computation and you want to save it and you use it later, then you can use this command save, yeah. So this command, first you have to give the name test save, okay, and you give the variables that you want to save, okay, so you can save it, okay, and then so now you see that in your directory you have a test save.math, yeah, and you can load it. So now if I clear everything, clear all, this means like I clear all the variables, I load test save, you know, .math, then I have all the variables, so X, Y, and Z, okay. So you can save all the previous computation into binary files, okay. So that is the thing, yeah, save and load. Or you can, you know, like save as a text files, you know. So then there's a command fopen and fclose. So fopen, so you will see that fopen is the is a function provided by Matlab. Yeah, you have to open the file and you have to, you know, specify you want to open it for reading, for writing, for appending, you know, it's up to you. And then you can write it. So this is fopen. And whenever you open files, you can use fprintf command to write into the files, you know, so just look it up. And then after that, you can close it, fclose, yeah, so fclose. Okay, so whenever you are not very sure about some function, just help, okay, and then after that, you have a reference page. So suppose I click on the reference page for fopen, then it gives me the examples and instruction and all the documents. You see, so suppose I open the documents for fopen, then you see that it gives you the example here. You can open the files called f4.m. Okay, display error message. If you cannot open it, okay, so then you can look on the example here. Okay. So another command which is very useful is fprintf. So fprintf is for you to write out the write out, say in this example, you write down numbers into a file. Yeah. So this example just give you x is a vector from 0 to 1 and the space is 0.1. Okay, and you compute y is just an exponential of x, and you open a text files and you print out on the values. So this command just means that you write everything into a files. Your FID is the files the file handle of this exp.text. Yeah, and this just means that every first number you write out as a floating point. There's a format command. Percent here, just a format command. 6 is 6 digits before the dot, 2 digits after the dot, floating point. And the second number is 12 digits before the dot, 8 digits after the dot. And this one just means a new line. Okay. So any more question? Does pre-allocate means to let MATLAB grab the data, grab the memory? Yes. Grab the memory. That's correct. Yes. So pre-allocate is when like you just claim that part of the memory. So then you do the calculation on that part of memory. So in other language, like C, like if you have a dynamic array, always you have to pre-allocate the memory first. But in MATLAB, they do it automatically for you. But it comes with a cost. That if you forget to pre-allocate the memory, it do it on the fly and it will consume more time. So if you do in the traditional way, you say that, okay, I want that much memory, then MATLAB knows, then it will be faster. Yeah. So if you know C, you know that before you have an array, before you can use it, you have to allocate the memory for that. And after you've done, you have to deallocate. But MATLAB simplify that. Okay. So any more question? What is the difference between the tutorial and the lab? Okay, so that's a good question. So before COVID, then the tutorial is we do just a theoretical problems, and the labs we go into the lab and we practice on the lab, on the computers in the lab. But because of COVID, so now we cannot get into the lab. So we have to have a lab, but with your own device. Okay. So does it make sense? So please bring your laptop into the lab. Yeah. So you see the Matlab here, it's very fast, but just give you the introduction. And the fastest way is you have to learn it on your own. Okay, so you have to practice with the script I gave you, or you practice, with the problems in the tutorial or in the lab. Okay, so eventually, practice make perfect. Okay? Because you listen and you forget. But if you start doing it, then you will remember. Okay. So any more questions? And, every type, you cannot remember the MATLAB commands. There's a command called look for, so look for, and you just remember some part of the command, so suppose F open, you don't remember F open, you just remember open. Then you say look for open, and it will list all the commands that have the open in their names. Okay. So, but it's quite a lot, and then you can choose, you know. But if you remember, maybe F open, that's better, you know. So then you can help F open. Okay. See, if you just say open, then it's just quite a lot. Yeah, and a lot of them just come from the full box. So we are not going to use any full box now. Yeah. So any more question? How do I enroll in Matlab Trader? So did you receive the email from Matlab Trader yet? Otherwise, just please email me, then I enroll you again. Okay, so I thought that I emailed to everyone already. Well, at least using the UNSW emails, you know, not your Gmail, because I don't know your Gmail. I just get your email from Moodle. And then I asked Matlab Trader to send to that emails, you know, the link to, so I show you, you know, at least the email. What does it look like? It look like this. So but you see, now I can share you the email I got, something like this. Yeah, so I should get something from Matlab Trader, okay? And then it has a logo of Matlab, and it has a green button. You click on the green button. And if it doesn't work, then make sure that you have a MathWorks account. If you don't have a MathWorks account, then you cannot click on this link. Okay. So any more questions? No, it depends on tutorial, what tutorial you choose. You have one tutorials online and one is on campus, okay? And for the lab, you have 3 options, 2 on campus and 1 is online. So it depends what time slot you choose, you have chosen. So the email I got just a pictures. No, see, that's why you have to have an account first with MathWorks, and then you can click on the green button. The labs graded, yes, by Matlab Trader. Yeah. So is there a weekly online tutorial to complete? Yes, it's in the tutorial folder. Why my tutorial class automatically change to online? I don't know. Maybe when you because you see, like at beginning of the term, there was 3 face-to-face tutorial, but then because one of them was changed to online, you know, I don't know how it works with the office, but maybe it is your tutorial. So if you want to switch, so please ask the office, okay? So you can switch to the face-to-face tutorial, okay? So any more questions?